Given that the US is our ally, diba, dapat ba nagsasalita rin tayo against this, no? Because we're looking at this not para dun sa ano natin dun sa whatever that we should be gaining about this, ano? So dapat ba nagsasalita ang Pilipinas regarding this?
Yes, the Philippine government should take a strong stand on the actions of the US in Venezuela. And for me, this situation should also trigger us to make a rethinking of our alliance with the United States. Do we want to be associated with a state that uses that arbitrarily uses military force against a sovereign state? So it calls for a rethinking of our alliance with the United States, and I have seen some scholars and some analysts also, and I'm also talking to some of my colleagues about the timeliness of this situation for the Philippines to rethink our alliance with the United States. Is it a kind of practice that we want to normalize in international politics, or we want to go back to the principle of the United Nations when it was created, okay, right after the Second World War? Okay, and what is the Charter of the United Nations? It's very loud and clear. Self-restraint on the use of military force, respect for the sovereignty of states, and non-interference in the domestic affairs of sovereign states.
Right.
Those are loud and clear. And rather than use military force to resolve conflict, the United Nations Charter urges all states to use diplomacy, okay, in settling international disputes.
Paano kasi, Prof, how about yung, well, you're saying na we should take a neutral stance muna in our alliance with the US. Ang problema natin kasi we also have a spat with China, who is similarly using the same, well, not the same, but a amount of force to bully us in the West Philippine Sea. Now, if we veer away from the US and other Western powers na ka-align ng US, where do we stand now? What happens then to us?
Well, we can analyze the situation in the context of the South China Sea, and it shows, it shows that if U.S. decides to use its military force to assert its interest in the South China Sea, then it can do it, because right now China cannot count the United States for its actions in Venezuela. It's only like a moral suasion, asking the United States to release Maduro, to respect international law. So it's like a moral suasion. But China now, it reveals the weakness of China, that China does not have equivalent military force to prevent the U.S. from what it did in Venezuela. So if the U.S. decides to use military force in the South China Sea, if the U.S. decides to use military force in Taiwan, then it has the wherewithal. Now, the thinking now for China, if U.S. uses military force in the South China Sea, or more so in Taiwan, okay, can China retaliate also militarily? So that begs the question. But for me, I'm very much worried about that situation, because we are hosting American military facilities in Philippine territories, and the United States can mobilize all these American military facilities to advance its military interests, not only in the Asia Pacific but also in the whole world. So the Philippines will be dragged in a conflict that not of our own choosing. Okay, so if U.S. decides to involve in any military conflict in the Asia Pacific, the Philippines will be involved because of our existing alliance, and it applies not only to the Philippines but also to Australia, to Japan, to South Korea. So I am closely watching the actions of Australia, South Korea, Japan, and other allies in the Asia Pacific region, whether or not they approve this kind of military action in Venezuela.